So, welcome to the Terragen 2 part, and we want to create an environment for using as skybox in Half-Life Advanced effects. Therefore, we have to download at first Terragen 2. You can download it from the PlanetSide website, and there's a technology preview, and we have some limitation in that. So we can, for example, render size maximum 800 to 600, but anyway, we use that version. It's okay for our project, and you see it's also multi-core processor supporting. So click on it, and we have Terragen 2. So maybe you see the difference. We have a totally new interface, and we have at first that top menu bar for switching into every different setting of our environment, but we can also change that in our node network. So you see we have our node, we can change, for example, settings and so on, but I want to use that top menu, and I want to start at first with our camera. And the very important is that we have to change the horizontal field of view to 90 degree. So we want create a skybox, and therefore we need that field of view of 90 degree. So let's start with the terrain, and you see we have currently one terrain. We can also add some other to work with that together, but I want at first generate now the default terrain, and I make a small preview render to see that better. So that looks okay, but I want more a dust view, and therefore I change some settings. For example, the roughness, bring that very down, change the steepness, generate now. And you see it's not so rough as before. I make a small preview render to see it better. And you see it's more like a desert. And yes. So next step, I change my camera position to the middle of our map, and that is 5000 to 5000. Change the rotation and bring our camera down to maybe 300. 700. Rotate. That's looking quite good, but we have to bring that. Yes, it's looking good. 400, 420, 420, 430, 450. That is looking quite good. So that's our final view on our map, but I don't like the current rocks, so I make some generations. So generate, change the seed, and you see we have another displacement on our current terrain. Maybe I have to change a little bit of our steepness, because I can't see that, and that's not quite good. I want that our mountains hide that place, and maybe more steepness. And yes, it's looking quite good, but we have to change our camera, you see, on that place on the right side. So maybe we make that by using 6000. That's looking good. 450 works very well. And change our rotation 180 and 270, and that's looking good. Maybe change the position to 4500 or 4000. Anyway, 5500 to find the best way. Anyway, we take 5000, and it's looking quite good, except that place, but ignore it. And that is our final view. So go next to the shader, and our render view shows it's more like in brown, and I want to change that a little bit to a brighter way. So you see we get more like dust, like more that desert sand texture. So quick render, and it's looking good. So next step, you see we have some of that displacement onto, and we have to change that a little bit in our hayfield shaders. And less fractal detail, so we don't have submatched details, and it's looking more like a real desert, more like sand. And so it's very smooth. And yes, that's looking good. So our terrain and our shaders are quite good. We can of course also change or add some surface there, but I don't want. In that case, you only have to see how that works. For example, we want use another surface on our current existing base color. So I make a test color so you see it better. And you can change the coverage to it, for example, by them. So some places are covered with that texture, and yes, you can also change it by use the fractal break so it's more blurred or it has harder edges. And yes, you can also change the limit maximum altitude so you can decide in which place you want to show that and where you don't want that. See it here in the preview. So only that you know how to, but I want that. So go next to the atmosphere. We don't want water, it's a desert. And the atmosphere, we have that one object, that's our background. You see that gradient from very bright to dark blue. And of course we can also change a little bit of them. And I bring down that haze you see here. And I think preview render helps you a little bit. And it's looking very good. So next step is we change the blue sky density and bring that up. And it's looking very well, it's more brighter, and yes. So the rest is okay. But before we go further, we have to change one setting in our final render comp. So you see, we have global illumination, and we have to turn that off because in every frame it's different on every view of our camera, and that's not good for our skybox. So bring that down to 0, 0, 0. And go back to the atmosphere, and we want add some clouds. So there are different types of clouds.